From Tampa, Florida to Green Bay, Wisconsin. From San Francisco, California to Buffalo, New York. Let's ride. We want to ride shotgun with you for the next hour, talking trucking with Deaton and Doty. Welcome to episode 40.
Hello.
40, the big 40. Joining us this week, Ray. Where you at, Ray?
Hey, how's it going, guys? From good day to everybody here from New Mexico.
New Mexico. Jim Mackey.
Hey, good day. I'm down here in southern Louisiana.
Nate Garner.
What's going on, Mississippi?
And Kevin.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody? I'm in Hammond, Louisiana.
Fixing his radiator hose.
I've already done that.
You can see on screen, as always, Christian Sneed, Mike Doty, Zach Kern,
Yo. Don't dox me.
Ian Dunlap,
Present.
and also on screen this week, filling in at the sports desk for Joel Howell, is Kumar.
Hey, this is Kumar from Joel's office.
Hey, Christian, did you guys get pounded with snow down there in Roanoke?
Depends on your definition. Are you given a Ohio version of being pounded or Virginia? Virginia was out of everything in the supermarkets. And we got a couple inches, but the ice was bad. So
Yeah.
there was pretty bad road conditions up through Monday night. So
Yeah, we got hit pretty good.
Yeah, we only had like 13 inches come down.
Yeah, and then the wind was blowing, so we had drifting. I mean, I had 3 feet on the back deck. I showed Mike a picture. I sent him a picture of that, and him and Kelly, he's in Florida, and Kelly's like, "Oh no!" Yeah, they weren't. Mike
So
sent me a
you weren't
picture.
outside in your shorts and flip flops, huh?
Mike sent me a picture of blue skies, sunny day.
It was a little chilly. I think we were down in the
Shovel.
60s that day.
does that ever get old, sending people pictures from Florida and horrible weather?
Probably not. Not in
Nah.
January.
Yeah, Mike, didn't you ask why we shovel?
It does. It gets old by the end of winter, but then by the next time winter rolls around, it's fun again.
We say the same thing when it's hurricane season. We're like, man, it sucks to live in Florida right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But down here, man, it's hurricane parties, you know.
Well, I got a
If you're born
snowblower.
and raised, you don't really go anywhere.
Mike doesn't even know
what
doesn't even know what a snowblower looks like. But I got a snowblower 2 years ago, and we actually had 2 really light winters. So I only got to use it the first winter once, and we only had a few inches, so it wasn't anything. So I was excited to go out and use it the other day. So that was kind of cool getting to use it. But we're not going to see grass now. We got so much snow, we won't see grass probably till April or May.
I was going to say,
Yeah,
I
we're still
never-
cutting grass back home.
Yeah, Ray's still cutting grass in San Antonio.
I never, I didn't see snow till I started driving.
I know, you told me that.
Really?
That's so funny.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I never even saw it until I started driving.
So on the show, like I said, Kumar is sitting in for Joel. Wide World of Sports with Kumar. Our drivers will battle Kumar and trucking questions with Kumar. And Christian Sneed will read the questions. He's got those put together. Thank you for that, Christian. Christian, Mike, and I will get into some trucking-related market stuff, safety stuff, whatever happens. And then Ian in the news with Ian Dunlap.
Hello.
So with that, I got something I want to show you, and no names, so we're not going to mention a name. This is a driver on our fleet, and he's a seasoned driver too. He made a mistake, and
Big mistake.
yeah, and but so put up that picture, Zach. He caught it in time.
Yeah.
Can you guys see that?
Could have been worse. Could have been a lot worse.
Could have been worse. So
Wow.
when it was on his blind side, so when he made this turn, first of all, this happened as a result of running a little late and getting in a hurry. And he said, here's the story. So he was going to a shipper. He was about an hour or so late. However, part of that, I talked to him about it again today. Part of that might not have been his fault, being late. But they did say they would stay and wait for him. He was 1 mile away from the shipper when this happened. The problem was when he got off the highway, his Rand McNally trucker GPS told him to go this way, and his GPS, the Google Maps he was looking at told him to go the other way. So he followed the Rand McNally. And my point that I said to him was, first, before I would leave out to go to a shipper, I think I would look at the Google map and kind of look at the area I'm going to, and just so I have an idea. And Ray and I talked about this last night on the phone too. I'd probably write down, I used to write down when I get off the highway close to a shipper receiver, I'd have it wrote down the directions I should go just in case the GPS took me a different way. So in this picture, he saw it in his mirror, pulled his brakes, called our dispatch team, and said, "I'm in trouble." I think that was the absolute right move to do, rather than trying to figure it out, backing up, getting out. He couldn't back up and get out of it.
Yeah, I say he tried.
He did try to back up. He couldn't.
Yeah.
His
But if
drive
he-
was off the ground.
Yeah, I don't know if you have the other picture, but if you see his drives on the other side, that's up off the ground just
Yeah.
a little bit.
Mhm.
His
So-
drives were so.
So Jim Mackey, what do you think? I mean, he did the right thing by pulling his brakes, and immediately our team, Doty, all of us in here, told him, "Don't move. We got to call a wrecker. We don't want to take the chance of tipping the thing over. Right now, there's no damage. You're not down in the ditch yet, you know?"
I guess my question is, was there a reason that he had to take that corner so short?
He said it was tight.
I think
Yeah.
he forgot he had 53 feet behind him.
That's, I mean,
Yeah.
It looks like his tandems were all the way back too.
they
And
weren't.
if you see,
They
and if
weren't
you
all the
see
way
the,
back.
Two
and if
panels,
you
right?
see, and if you see the other picture, he used all of the road. I mean, I think he just would have had to swing it wide into that other lane
Yeah.
before he even started the turn. To make that turn, because if you look at the other picture, he used all of the road on the
Yeah,
other
I think-
side.
I think so. But the tow truck driver did tell him after they lifted it kind of like a crane and put him back on the road. But they told him, "You got to back up. You can't make that turn." And
Oh, really?
yeah, that's what they told him. So he clearly couldn't make that turn. 1 mile from the shipper, just happened that sometimes, man, I'll tell you, I think there's a lot to be said for taking, like you said last week, Jim, opening up the Google map of the area and looking at the roads and knowing where you're going and not just following a GPS aimlessly.
And I think you got to give him a lot of credit for making the call. Like, you have to drop your pride when you're in this situation. Like, well,
Yeah.
maybe I can just get it out and not have to worry about it. But I mean, you think about, we used to have a saying that says it's better to call and sound like a rookie than continue to make the mistake and prove it. And I think this is one of those things where, was there a mistake? Everybody makes them.
Yeah.
But he made the right call, which is to call you guys and make sure you get out of it. So,
And this driver is
Yeah.
a really good guy. He's really close with everybody here.
Yeah.
He's been with us for years, and he's drove for years. He was actually a trainer at another company years ago, and he knows. And I asked him today, I said, do you mind if I'm going to roast you a little bit on the show? I think people need to talk about it. I think it's good to hear
Well,
about.
I think that the most important thing is that he stopped.
Exactly.
He did not make the problem any worse
Mm-hmm.
than what it already was.
He stopped. He pulled his brakes immediately. The first call he made was to us and said, "I got a problem. I'm almost in a ditch." And so we were all commenting on it internally here, like, all right, let's look at this. Doty and I were like, immediately, we're all like, no, we need a wrecker. He's just going to have to, it's going to cost you. And it did cost him $500.
not bad.
And no, I thought it was going to be
I figured
worse.
8.
I honestly
I
thought it
figured
was
800.
I thought it was going to be 1,000. And I did see some other pictures from him when they were moving it. I mean, they came out there with a big crane and they strapped the back of it and they lifted the trailer back up on the road. So I was surprised it was only $500.
Usually
So they
it's just a
did-
solo call out's 150 an hour, 2 hours.
Yeah.
That's good.
So they did have to lift it up, huh, Russ?
lifted
didn't-
it up.
He couldn't
Yep.
pull it back. Okay.
I watched the
thought-
video he took of it. They lifted it up and then brought him
I
over.
might have to do that so it didn't, because
Yeah.
it looks like if he would have kept pulling forward, there was a chance it could have rolled.
That's what me and what we were all saying, that Mike, you too, because that ditch is deep right there. And if he would have another 2 feet, I think he's taking out that pole and he's rolling the truck.
I've got some images, Russ, of an incident that was just coincidentally in my slideshow too. If you want me to share that real quick.
Yeah, do it.
Let's see.
I do want to say, I asked him, I want to share this because he knew he made a mistake. He was running late. He got behind, and he wasn't speeding. It was just he was in a hurry and made a bad decision when he turned. When he saw it, he corrected his mistake, pulled his brakes, and stopped. So, good for that. Good for him for that.
Well, I told you yesterday, I've been in a rush and I've clipped a trailer. Luckily, the time I clipped a trailer in a parking lot, I was in a rush, but it was just a small scratch. We both went on our way. I told the guy about it. He came back, look, all good. We kept going. And then another time I was in a rush trying to get to a shipper. I think I woke up late or something that morning, and I don't know if I tried to go a different way or go a shorter way, but I took a right turn and looked, and I was headed towards a low bridge. Whoops.
Yeah.
And luckily, I think it was early on a Saturday morning, so I was able to just back up with no traffic and get out of there. But yeah,
we've all
Yeah, I remember as I was growing up, my grandfather, he was a justice of the peace, and he passed away when I was 14 years old. So I have one memory of one of the sayings that he always said. He says, "The hurrier I go, the behinder I get."
that's
great.
This is a good example of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth.
Yeah, that's a really good saying. I also like the other one that Jim has. What did you say about chains, Jim, before?
About chains?
Yeah, about I chain up to get myself out of trouble.
I won't put my chains on to get into trouble, but I'll put them on to get out of trouble.
Yeah, I like that. We should make a T-shirt out of that.
Yeah, I like that.
So share that, Christian, what you got ready while we're on this subject.
So can you see what's your impact?
Yeah.
Okay, so that looks like the trailer's upright. And this is, again, as a seasonal driver, was driving for us for like 6 years when this happened. Accident-free, incident-free. That's the actual angle of it. And it was an animal avoidance where tried to keep its defensive posture in a lane. And when it came over, the rear tires of the trailer just were on a soft shoulder, as you can tell, in Route 29 in Virginia. And so that's the front of the trailer that's no longer there.
Oh, wow.
The cool part is the glad hand.
It's
line
still
is
attached.
Still attached. What you'll find out that's the front of the trailer that actually came off. There's the front of the skid plate of the trailer, the fuel tanks, and the front axle. That's what's left of the trailer.
Oh, wow.
Oh, man.
That's where the axles were. 12.7 Detroit, no longer.
That logo is still intact, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was bad. I mean, it was off the frame. It was kind of neat that it actually held part of the trailer on. The rest of it was tore off. But that was, that was a difficult night.
So was he? So he was trying to avoid the animal.
Yep. And
And-
just tried to. Yep. Animal came in front. Just tried to maintain its lane. Truck made it. Trailer didn't. But when the trailer went, the truck went with it.
Yeah, sure.
And completely turned the truck around from the trailer to where it broke the front of the trailer. And this, it was funny because when I arrived at the hospital, said, "I know I hit my head on the dirt." I said, "Hit your head on the dirt? Like your truck was upright, you know?"
Yeah.
But there was a giant rock cliff there, and the door flung open. And they did. They did. Had lacerations on their head. Yeah.
What kind of animal was it?
I mean, what kind of dog? Or
It was a dog.
Oh, it was a dog.
It was a dog. Yeah.
Oh, should have.
And you know what I would do when I was driving? I'm not kidding either. I would try to, because I always thought, if something ran out in front of me, your reaction is to swerve, right? It's just a
in a
kind of a
car.
natural reaction.
Yeah.
So I would always try to train my brain, like, all right, if something comes out in front of me, it's just getting hit. That's all. Every
too.
time I was driving at night or
Just
something,
gonna
I'd
get smacked.
I would try to train my brain. Like if I'm not locking the brakes up, I'll try to tap the brakes.
Go through.
I'll
it.
try to. You're getting hit. It's
That's
getting
much better
slammed
than
into
turning
for
your
sure.
truck on the side.
That
But I
happened
try
to
to
Mike,
train
I
my
gotta-
brain that way because your reaction is to swerve.
Yeah.
Mike, I have a
Go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, I was gonna say I have a friend of mine that he did the same thing. He actually hit a deer in Texas. He was driving a 379 Peterbilt, right? So he hit the deer head on. He didn't swerve, and the deer ended up in the passenger side seat. So you should just put the seatbelt on him and just keep on going.
That's like, isn't that
Right on home.
the movie
First
Tommy
he's
Boy? Isn't that what happened
yeah,
to Tommy
that's
Boy?
great.
Yeah.
Oh no, they pick it up and then they put it in the back seat.
Oh
Yeah,
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 and then he
yeah.
wakes up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at the end of the day, man, slow it down, and just, if you're late for a load, it is what it is. Make sure you make good contact with your dispatcher and let everybody know. But you still got a commercial 80,000-pound commercial motor vehicle that you're the pilot of. You're the captain of the ship, so you've got to take it easy, and make sure you're paying attention and do it the way. And I know, like I said, this is a really close friend of mine, the driver that I showed you our trailer, been with us for a long time, and he's a good driver. He just made a mistake, and it can happen to any of us. So I wanted to bring it up because maybe that'll be a reminder to someone else out there listening that it can happen to anyone.
And route plan too, man, with technology these days.
Oh, yeah.
So I kind of had a routine. Like when I got my load, I'd look at the route on Fuel Book so I could see where the cheapest fuel was. And then it's an app called Fuel Book. So if you don't have that, download it. It's good for fuel prices. But then I'd go on Google. I'd Google Rand McNally, the route. If they were different routes, I'd kind of look at the different roads. And then I'd look at the shipper or receiver, see if they had parking, because you can Google Earth. You can look down at the parking lot. I'd go to the street view and look at the street view if things look sketchy. Right. If it was a simple one that you've been to before, you don't have to do that every time. But if it was somewhere where I hadn't been,
and
I'd definitely take advantage of the technology that's out there.
By the way, if you guys noticed, Joel's sick tonight. So if you just heard a cough, we asked Kevin to sit in and cough for Joel on the show. That was Kevin.
One of the things that really I can't get over is, how these truck specific GPSs, they're so expensive. If you were to compare it to a regular car GPS, I mean, I get it. They're geared towards trucking, and I get that they're probably more expensive because there's, maybe not as many of them sell. I don't know. But you would think that technology would help us out a little bit. But the Rand McNally is one of those that I moved away from that because it would put me in residential areas. It would put me in places where there's low bridges more often than not. So I moved away from that. I went to a Garmin. I love the way the Rand McNally has all their options. The Garmin is more plain, but it hasn't put me in a situation like that since I switched.
That's good information.
So that's just me, and I know everybody likes their Rand McNally, but I had to move away from it.
So Kevin and Nate and Jim, what do you guys use?
I use a Garmin.
Kevin uses a Garmin. What about you, Nate?
Well, I use a Rand McNally, but I've also over the years of using truck GPSs and even just regular GPSs, I've just learned not to trust them at all. So I always check, always.
Yeah, like Mike said, and I know Jim Mackey mentioned it a couple of weeks ago on the show, but like you said, Google Map is great. It's a great tool. Actually, I had the actual atlas in the truck, and I would use the atlas to double check.
That's all I was thinking.
There you go. But an actual atlas, and then use that, and then I would double check but when I started a trip, I would look at that, and then I would put in my GPS. So I had an idea in my head from the atlas, and if the GPS started to deter me from that route, I was pulling over and checking it out first. So you got to double check.
Myself, I don't even have a truck GPS.
They didn't have truck GPSs when Jim started.
Right now, I just use a car GPS and use my gut feeling.
Yeah.
And after 6 million miles in this country, I think it's pretty good.
I think, guys, Jim Mackey can get away with that after 6 million miles and 40 years on the road. But don't try it because Chicago, they'll get you in Chicago with a low bridge.
The biggest places I ever had problems is up in the Northeast. I mean, out here in the rest of the modified world, I really don't see too many issues. It's just I'm not familiar with Pennsylvania, Northeast area. That's where I always get into trouble.
That's what I was gonna say. I even some of my drivers, like Potts, I can remember doing it for. I'll look if they're going into a city or something and delivering, and like Potts was delivering to a hotel, and I was like, man, if the address is going to take them to the front door. So I went on Google Maps, I looked at the street view, and drove down the roads and looked for where their dock was, right?
Yeah.
And then I clicked on where the dock was or the intersection and got that address, and I said, all right, Potts, go to this address. That'll take you straight to the dock.
That's smart.
But the Google Street View Yeah,
you can enter coordinates too. If you don't get an address, you can grab the coordinates and put it on your GPS too.
Yeah.
Christian, you got some stuff to go over before we get on to
Kumar? Sure do.
Well, I want to say something, then we'll get on to what you got.
Okay, cool.
So this is kind of funny. Let me pull it up. So Austin, our night dispatcher, called me last week, and he said he was talking to Grizel Montenegro at Meadowlark. I think she's on the agency side.
She just goes by Grizz.
Grizz. Okay. So Grizz. I don't know how our show came up, but Austin was talking to her, and maybe he mentioned it or she asked him. I'm not sure, but she told him. She said, "Well, Joel mentioned the show to me." But she said he was rattling off pretty quick, and Joel can get going in a whole bunch of different directions. We all know that. And she said she thought the name of the show, and so did her coworkers, was Talking Dirty with Deaton and Doty.
Yeah, and she was telling people. People were getting real interested in our show.
Now I know why our likes are going up.
Yeah, right?
So,
yes.
And I was dying laughing when Austin told me last week. So it's not Grizz.
That's the after dark version.
Yeah,
of the show.
it's not. That's right. Yeah, that's the late show. Grizz, it's not Talking Dirty with Deaton and Doty. It's Talking Truckin with Deaton and Doty. And I will tell you that we do keep things clean around here, Grizz. So yeah, but I was dying laughing because I could totally see Joel getting going too quick and talking about too many different directions at one time, and making it sound like that's what it was, and she really thought that. So I thought that was hilarious. Kind of like Mike Doty's mom thinking we were hauling reefer. Because
that's what I thought for the longest time too. I was like,
you're gonna get busted one day.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah.
We'd be retired. We'd be retired by now if that was the case.
That's
right.
48,000 pounds of reefer.
I had to call in, make sure it was okay. I was hauling out of Colorado. I was hauling, I think I said
CBD oil.
CBD oil, yeah.
One time.
I was like, man, am I good with this? I just saw an article, someone getting in trouble for like hauling hemp or something.
Mike, I think
all kinds of rules with that.
I think you called me because I remember talking to you about it, and I remember looking it up to make sure we were legal. Yeah,
that's a whole other side of
I hauled a load of hemp up to Colorado.
Yeah. Well, it's legal. You just got to have the correct paperwork. Everything's got to be correct. Or you're going to be in trouble.
They give you a whole stack of paperwork whenever you get loaded.
Yeah, if you go across the border of some states and the THC levels are higher than what they should be, you could go to jail.
So yes, that's what it was. I had all the paperwork of the percentage of
Mike,
all the
when
CBD
you did that,
oil, like what? Yeah.
Didn't you have to go into a scale that load and show your paperwork once, or were we just being prepared?
Remember that. No, I think we were just being prepared. I don't remember having to go into the scale, but I do remember me checking with you, and then also them giving me, a thick stack of papers, sample. And it had down
all the lab work.
The lab work. Yeah,
it's
with
really,
everything
really
else
cool.
on.
You got to really know what you're doing to run those.
All right, Christian. So what do you got?
Let's rock and roll. Made a little adjustment to the beginning here. You guys can see it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's fancy.
Cool.
You like that? Here, wait for it. Wait for it. Here it comes. There you go. Making it on the fly. That's it.
Talking dirty.
From Montana. Talking dirty. All right, let's talk dirty. So we have 5 drivers here, all Meadowlark drivers. The first one is John Clay Jr. He's a gentleman that's home pretty much every weekend for 48 hours right now. He's on a fairly regular run, as you'll see. He goes from Massachusetts up to Virginia and back, and then New Hampshire back to Virginia. It's a very consistent run, $2,500 to $2,700 going up, $1,600 to $1,500 coming back down. So he ran 71% occupancy with 155% of his goal, clocking in $8,300 at $3.14 a mile.
Nice week.
On a target of 75.
Boy, he's running a tough. He's running a tough lane though, all northeast like that. So he's got his hands full.
He does have his hands full, but and it's 314, which is not the highest cent per mile that you like to see, especially running those lanes. But it works for him, and he's had some real difficult times personally the last couple months. So it works well for he and his family too. Darnell Davis, he's the gentleman we have that's in Lamont, Illinois. He's home every weekend. He also ran his 5 days out for his occupancy of 71%, 133% of the target. He really started off dropping into Indianapolis or Indiana out that way, and then went down to Carolina and then back up. And with that, he did $9,050 at $4.24 a mile, absolutely killing on 2,100 miles and 450 over an already high target. Justin Boyd's out of Virginia, as is Quentin Brown and Bill, the next three drivers. Justin's usually out a little longer than this, but he was coming or going in towards the house from Massachusetts, or how do you say that, Russ?
Mass. I just say mass now.
Mass. That sounds like church. How do you say the whole thing?
Just mass.
Okay. Massachusetts, I think is how you say it.
Peace be with you.
Yep. And then he went to Pine City, New York, back to PA, and then down to the Carolinas. So this way he could get back towards the house for the weekend. But he did $8,200, 28% above his target, 86% occupancy. Another dry van, Quentin Brown did $7,200. Similar lane, PA, New Jersey, Virginia, going back towards the house as well. They live in the same area. And the last is our company driver, Bill Phelan. He is also home on the weekends. He delivered up into Pennsylvania and then went to Greenville, Tennessee, and the McKees Rocks. But that run onto PA in Hollidaysburg was a longer run that he was finishing out. So
McKees Rocks, that's by Pittsburgh, right?
Yes, it is. Yep.
Actually, John Masters, he watches the show or listens to the show on one or the other. I had to give him a ride up there to get Doty's truck. That was where it was at, right, Doty?
Yeah, McKee's Rock.
So really?
Yeah, so they're the one that put the motor in.
Yeah, the new motor. He had to sell his house to buy.
Yeah.
All right. So, hey, Christian, I have a question. How do you come up? Because I've been meaning to ask you. How do you come up with the target revenue? Because I'm noticing, I thought it was reefer versus dry van, but I'm noticing like $7,500 on this target reefer and then 95 on this van. So how do you come up with it?
So we set those targets individually with the guys when they get here. So when they get here, we take them through Metalwork has their safety orientation, mechanical and all that. We do an on-site kind of like a business orientation, and we set those targets up. They are seasonal. We have a program that now is going to be doing it quarterly as opposed to weekly, but they set up quarterly goals. So you basically look at what the market is. We look at how often they're home, what areas they live in, and things like that. So you look at Darnell Davis, his target's higher, but he's also out of Illinois. So he's going to be staying in the Midwest as opposed to someone that's in Virginia that might be home more often, right? Like Mr. Bill. I mean, a realistic target, $7,500. You're in Virginia, you're home on Friday. You don't leave out till late Sunday, early Monday.
So basically what you're saying is, so the driver decides with you or whoever, his dispatcher, hey, this is what I would like to hit. This is how much revenue I'd like to do in order to, make so much money. And based on the amount of occupancy, based on that amount, I need to occupy the truck this much.
That is correct. Right? Yeah, great question. And so it's also a minimized advertised target. It's like a MAP pricing, minimal advertised pricing. So we call it a target achieved revenue, TAR. And so that is our target, but it is our minimum target. So if we're over it, we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. If we're under it, we need to make sure we ask questions. Why are we under it? Was it inclement weather, or was it something our dispatch team did? There has to be a level of accountability in there as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. I like you sitting down with them in the beginning and giving them a target to hit, because then they kind of know where they stand.
Yeah. Well, it's like a coach and its players. If you guys have the same goals and you communicate them, then it's pretty easy to make sure you know when you're on target. If you just, hey, I'm going to get out there and give it my best shot, that's not objective, that's subjective. And generally, someone's disappointed that something didn't go their way. Well, if we communicate which way it's supposed to go up front, retention usually follows. And if they're not happy, we know it, right? And so then this way we can do something about it to fix it.
It goes back to the same thing we talked about last week. I gave that big range of what you're going to take home, 2,000 or 6,000.
Right. Exactly.
Yep. So where you fall, and we have those conversations with guys. Depending on how much time you go home, the pieces of the pie, like you did, Christian, when you start taking those pieces out, it puts you right. You're going to know where you're going to be based on how you're going to occupy the truck.
And I stole some of yours. You might be talking about the pizza. I stole the gross net version. Your 50% of whatever your gross is really going to be your net after expenses. So
pretty close.
Yeah, I mean it's 45 to 55% is, and I went back and started saying, man, is he dead on that? And you're dead on. So, and I appreciate that.
Figured that one out a long time ago, man. And it holds true. It only holds true though if once you hit a certain revenue, and then the higher the revenue goes, the higher the percentage goes.
Right.
And then the lower the revenue, lower the percent. Right. Exactly, because your fixed cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good rule of thumb for average, just for like an average week.
Yeah. We've been talking like that, Ray, you and I, for years about, 50%. You know where you're going to be if we get. That's why we focus on total revenue.
Give or take. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny, before you showed the picture, and I had no idea you were bringing up the driver that had called into the office, and then I had what we call Impact. It was a quarterly safety meeting we did 3 or 4 years ago. And last week, Mike, you had brought up, hey, here's what the cost and everything that's floated, the millions of dollars that are in existence and all the liabilities of the equipment before anybody makes $1 in Montana, right? And so I was just searching through podcasts. As you know, I got a computer, so I'm swapping out old files. And I was looking through my old PowerPoint presentations and pulled this up. And it said, we used to talk about what is your impact, right? What is your impact on the business? And we were an all employee-based business at the time. So it was a different model, but the concept is still the same, right? So impact stood for insurance. What is your impact on the insurance, both for your insurance, right? For bobtail physical damage, but as well as the liability insurance and cargo insurance on a company. 1 or 2 claims can really skew that number and make renewals a pain if they happen at all. A couple bad ones. What's your mechanical impact? What is it to your bottom line? You're talking about Fuel Buddy, or what was your fuel book, right?
Ray uses profit gauges. That's another one that he loves. I've never done it, but
I mean, neither. I have to write that down.
Yeah.
But you know what?
It for years, actually.
But what is it that you're looking at as far as your pre-trip and post-trip? Are you identifying tires before they become a blowout and a $400 call out, or is it something that you can handle and the whole bill's $400? And that runs into profitability. Are you maintaining all the other things you need to do to be profitable? And a lot of that lies in the dispatch office to guys that don't dispatch themselves. Are the people that working for you or with you pushing the rates as far as humanly possible every single time? If someone calls in and gives you a rate and you say, that's great, I'll take it, you better make sure it goes to his doorstep, because there's no reason not to negotiate in life, and specifically in transportation. Accountability, and that's what we talked about, the target achievement reviews, is, how accountable are you to doing your job? And are you in a very positive and proactive way making sure that those partners you're with are also being held accountable? If you walk into Mike or Russ's office and they tell you they're going to do something, they're going to do it. And I've seen it not just on the show, but I've seen it in real life application. And so you want to make sure that you partner with people that are accountable to themselves as well as you. Customer base is a huge one too. What are we doing for customers? Are we showing ourselves in the wrong color so we can never be there again? And now we don't have that. And we got cut off from Coca-Cola 7-8 years ago from one incident. Now we fixed it, but we were shut down for almost a week with them. And those are the kind of things that you need to make sure that the relationships with the customers are there. And even if it's brokers, third-party logistics firms provide more revenue, because 90% of the trucking industry is made up of small businesses and 3PLs. Small trucking companies. And so you want to make sure. And the last thing you can do is be timely. If you're on time, you're delivering your loads and you're doing it safely, the rest of it's going to take care of itself.
Yeah. That's good. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah.
That's your yes be yes and your no be no.
Yeah. And I like
life that way.
I really like the occupancy reports. And last week, I know I was joking with Ray and putting Ray at a 21% occupancy.
That's way high, by the way.
Yeah. But actually, Ray, so
I like it. I like it, but it's fun.
We sent Ray out west. And last, was it Friday, Ray, that we loaded you up? Instead of going home, we sent Ray up to Seattle area. Or it was Portland, right, Ray?
Yeah, you sent me up to Portland, just across the state line side. But I did say, everybody was saying, hey, you want to load back home? And I'm like, no, don't send me home, because then my house is like a magnet. I'm trying to get back home.
It'll stay there. So
the closer I get, the more I want to go home.
No, it was funny because so we sent him up there well over between $5 and $6 a mile. So it was mid-5s, I think, or something like that, Ray, to Portland. Yeah. And then, which that lane's not as hot as it was, but that's still really good. And we got guys still going, and ladies. We got Charity running in that lane too, I think. Or she was, but we're still running that lane. But Ray got up there and Monday, and Ian and I were working on him, and so Ian and I were going back and forth about.
We were looking for a while.
We were looking, and Ray was like, "Just send me straight back south to SoCal. I'll do it again. Keep me away from the house, because I know how I am when I get there." And then Ian didn't have. So what I do, and I told Ray this later, I pull up with Ray. I don't care what he tells me. I still pull up the lane going home. So I had both lanes I was looking at. I was looking at SoCal, from Portland, Seattle area to SoCal, and then I had Seattle, Portland to San Antonio pulled up. Just so happened Berkey had a load. Was that? Oh no, that was Jordan from XPO. So Jordan, a friend of ours from who we work with at XPO, he had a load that was for like, I don't know, $8,000 posted. So I texted Ian immediately. I said, call Jordan on this load. It was just posted for $8,000 going to San Antonio on, like, what was it, Ray? 2,000 miles, right around there. He might lost signal.
150 miles.
He's somewhere there.
Yeah, 2,150.
Yeah, 2,100 miles, and he had it posted for $8,000. Ian got it for $8,550 from Jordan, and it was light. So I told him just jump on it, and Ray didn't mind. He's like, all right, I said SoCal only, but I'll go to San Antonio. So he went right back home. He's on his way.
I do the same thing, Ray. I wouldn't get a load into Florida unless I was going home, because I know if I hit that Florida border, I'm going home no matter what.
Yeah,
and Florida's another story, because that's just once you're there, you're getting screwed no matter what.
But that's a pretty good turn, Ray.
That other load you got me too. Oh, sorry.
I was just gonna say that's not a bad turn for you. Running 1,100 miles for like 53, 54, or 50, something like that up there, and that was light. Yeah. And then coming back down 85, 50 on 2,000. So 3,000 miles at 85 and 55. What's that? 13.5. Yeah,
you can take the rest of the year off at this rate.
He's got a nice. Ray's got a nice week going.
Yeah, hell of a pool party.
That's what I was going to tell you, Russell. Remember, part of the reason why you and Ian had been looking for a long time was because we were trying to hit that target of $6,000 going up to Seattle. Remember that?
Yeah, we were trying to.
Well, we couldn't get it, so we got a $5,800 load. But here's the kicker: it took him 6 hours to load me. So I called up Ian and said, "Hey, I got in and out times on this. Can you process that with Berkey?" And he said, "Yeah." So then I get an email. They paid me $225.
So he got more money.
We hit $6,000. We hit $6,000.
Okay, so 6 and 85. Ray. That's a 14.5 and 3,000 miles, basically 3,100 miles. That's really good.
Really sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
That's good. That's better than I know. Tom did it on. One load, on one reefer load, 14.2 or something, but on the same miles. But I think we beat him. Took 2 loads, about the same miles, 14.5. That's great.
Yeah, we hit our target regardless. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really cool. I like that.
And now we won't see him until spring.
Ray will be home cutting grass in the floaty.
He'll be like that groundhog.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Man, I had a driver get sick last week, but I had him planned. He was running those actually Pascagoula loads, but he would have been at 12.5, I think it was, or 12.5 or 12.50 on like 2,500 miles, and he ended up getting sick and not feeling well and deadheading home all the way to Alabama from San Antonio.
I will say this. Me and Mike talked about it. That was a mistake. I think even Lee talked to him about it. I'm not going to mention any names, but I think you said Lee talked to him about it too. But you're sick. Okay, you're deadheading home. You had a 12.5 week set up, and then the last leg of it, instead of how many miles did he deadhead home? Mike, what was it?
900.
900 miles. So we had
to took another $4,000 out of your pocket.
We had to cancel a load, and you went the same way, the same lane. You drove all the way there.
Yeah, he lives in Alabama. Oh, yeah.
You lost the money. Why not just get loaded? You're sick and you're driving deadhead anyway. I mean, just why don't you get loaded? That was a huge mistake. And this is a good driver, good guy, and he knows who he is. He'll probably hear this and hope you're not mad at me.
Your cell phone's gonna start going off.
Yeah, but you know what? Be mad at me if you want. You made a bad move. I'm sorry. It cost you money, a lot more than just the fuel.
No, definitely a lot more than the fuel. Yeah.
But,
and I told and he realized it. And to be fair, he had a little bit of a deadhead the opposite way to go pick it up, about 100 and something miles. I think it was over in I forget where it was, but yeah, and. I checked. We could have picked it up late, and I told him if you want to, I can see if we can get loaded, and then once you're loaded, they ended up having bad weather up there anyway. So I was like, man, it was a flexible delivery. I think it could have delivered like Monday or Tuesday. So
it was
I'm
a
sure
dry van load, flexible.
Yeah, if he could.
How's Mike ever supposed to get his chair back if we're dispatching like that?
I know, right?
Hey, that guy, he called me. So he called me apologizing up and down Sunday, and he sent me a bunch of pictures. He's gone through like 2 sewing machines. He sent me this picture of I think he really has had some bad luck. He sent me this picture of his compressor that like exploded, sent oil all over his shop. He said he's purchased like 2 sewing machines. The thread he's trying to use for this seat, he said it keeps like, I don't know, messing up his brand new sewing machine. He had to go buy another one.
So you did get your quote.
I think he's got about $2,000 wrapped up in my $800
get your quote
chair.
up front, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say, and then he also sent along with the pictures, he sent him a revised.
Sent me the revised rate con on my chair.
Yeah. So Kumar.
Yes, sir.
Sitting in for Joel. You want to fill us in? We've missed a little sports lately. You got some sports to go over?
All right. Hello, everybody. This is Kumar coming at you with the sports. Let me slap the desk a little bit. A little cough. All right. So, NFL. We got the NFL divisional round going on right now. Here's who's left. We got the Bengals playing the Titans this Saturday. And we got the 49ers playing the Packers also on Saturday. Sunday, we got the Rams versus the Buccaneers.
Go Rams. That'll knock Christian right out of our little bet.
That's my son's favorite team. And it pained me when I was filling this out for this week. I selected Tom Brady. Yeah. I'm like, I'm going to root for the Rams with my son. But secretly, if Tom Brady wins, I'm going to be okay with it.
I told Zach just before the show when we were talking about the games, I said, and the Rams are going to beat the Buccaneers, and that will put that bet to bed, and I'll finally win one against Christian.
Well, now you're jinxing it. So.
No, I think the Rams look hot, man. They look good. Okay, Kumar, go ahead.
All right, so Rams versus the Buccaneers on Sunday, and also the Bills versus the Chiefs on Sunday. So that's
going to be a good game.
That's what's going on.
I got the Bills on that one.
I got the Bills too. I think they're looking
Bills
good.
Mafia.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no clue, but well. So, moving on to the NBA. In the East, the Bulls lead the East 27 to 15?
27-15 is their record.
Okay, yeah. 27 wins.
They're leading the
15
East.
Losses.
Number 1 team in the East.
Then we got the Heat at 28 and 16. We got the Nets 27 and 16. And the Cavaliers at 27 and 18.
So I wanted to bring up something. So everybody knows the Cavs are my team, Cleveland Cavaliers. They're playing the Bulls tonight. It's a big game, and Cleveland is a bunch of young players that have, these are no-name players basically to the rest of the world, and they're 4th in the East, and they're 1.5 games back of the number 1 seed, which is the Chicago Bulls, and they're playing them tonight. So in Chicago, so. That's what I'm doing tonight when I get home watching. It's a big, big game for Cleveland. And they're just having a fantastic season too, and it came out of nowhere.
Work together as a team, huh?
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, so on to the West.
$50 on that one.
The Suns lead the division at 34 wins, 9 losses. Next, we got the Warriors, 32 and 12. Then the Grizzlies 31 and 15, and the Jazz 29 and 15.
Right on.
So there's that for what's going on, and a little bit of news.
Kumar doesn't even follow sports, so
no.
I was going to say this. Sports guys are
unless it's MMA.
Yeah, MMA.
Sports guys are cringy.
Or rough and rowdy.
Is it Mike Tyson doing a deal with Paul?
Who cares?
I don't know.
Yeah,
but
no,
I'd like to watch you get him knocked out eventually. It'd be nice.
Is it Logan Paul?
Yeah, so
it's rigged.
I saw the thing that Logan Paul said about he would fight Mike Tyson or he would beat him, because Mike Tyson's old. Man, you watch Mike Tyson hitting the bag at 50. I'm sorry,
that bag doesn't move though, bro. He didn't knock down what's his face.
Yeah, but that was okay. That was an exhibition. You talking about Mike Tyson?
I'd say make it winner takes all. You want to see if Mike wants to come out box, put all the money on it.
But it can't be an exhibition. I want to see Mike go after
like a real
at
fight,
his
like
age.
that last one.
That's what I'm
couldn't,
saying.
go
But
for
like, just
knockouts.
put all the money on it. So
Plus, Mike Tyson, he was from a young age, Customato, that he had him like almost brainwashed to fight. He put him through this psychological thing and just taught him fighting from like 13 years old. Like that's all he knew.
What is that? What is it? The Manchurian Candidate? Is that like when they like brainwash these people into doing crazy things and like that's how I picture like how Mike Tyson is. Like you say a keyword and then he just goes crazy.
He starts biting people's ears off.
It's the bell. It's the bell.
That guy.
Did you hear what he said about his kids though? Because his kids wanted the box. He's like, "Nah, they ain't tough enough. Nah, they ain't got it. They ain't got it. They ain't hard."
Yeah.
Do you guys know Mike
Come
Tyson?
on, man. He said he said he was.
Oh man, they're weak.
Yeah.
Do you know he wanted to fight a gorilla, and he was gonna pay a zookeeper like $10,000, and the guy was like, "No way!"
Well, the gorilla would have ripped him apart.
Oh yeah, I would have tore his arm off and beat him with it.
It depends which Mike, pre-prison Mike or post-prison Mike. Pre-prison Mike, he had a chance. I'm just saying.
Right.
But
hilarious.
the
6-month-old gorilla, but he still had a chance.
Yeah, that Tyson fight could happen with if it's Logan Paul, because Logan Paul he lost like $2.5 million on some fake Pokemon cards.
That whole situation is fake.
Is it?
Yes.
You think?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
His reaction to losing $3.5 million,
but
was way too chill.
But he's also very rich.
That's still $3.5 million.
He made $6 million on the video that talked about him losing $3 million.
Right.
You know,
it's like I love these people that get famous for not being famous. Like, what did you do? I mean, okay, he was a Disney kid. He gets a pass, but it's like the Kardashians. Like,
no, actually, he was not
TikTok.
Vine.
Oh, Vine.
Because I was going to Ohio University, and
he was popular there.
That's when he started making the videos. So
famous for not being famous. I mean, I don't know, the Kardashians. At least their dad might have been OJ. You know.
Right.
All right, so we'll move on to some more news in the wide world of sports. We have the Browns DT, defensive tackle, I'm guessing.
That's right.
Malik McDowell.
Malik McDowell.
Wow.
Malik McDowell.
Malik McDowell. He was arrested in Florida for walking around naked when police arrived. And when police arrived, he fought them and eventually was arrested.
So this is the
and
Browns.
It didn't mention where it was.
By a school or something. So this guy just ended. He was a Browns defensive tackle. A week ago, they were on the field playing. So a week after the season ends, he's down in Florida and walking around naked. Police come. He gets in a fight with them naked. Gets arrested.
He went like into a school or something.
He didn't go in. He was in front of it.
Oh my lord!
This sounds like a Florida man story.
Yeah,
it almost does.
Florida,
I think that was on the Florida Man subreddit.
Something about Florida. He ended the season and he came on vacation and he's leaving on probation.
Does he live there? Sounds like he lives there.
Yeah, he's living with Tom Brady right now. He's going to be your wide receiver next year.
Right?
He's living in county right now
with Antonio Brown.
All right,
Antonio Brown's actually
in the club.
Yeah,
in the club. So, moving on. Coach of the Bucks, Bruce Arians fined $50,000 for hitting one of his players on the head.
That happened last week. It wasn't a mean thing. I think what he was doing was like, like when they did something good and he slapped him in the helmet, but it was like put him in concussion protocol, so they fined him.
Oh my God.
The NFL is so soft now; it's unreal.
You can't hit someone in the head.
You can't do anything.
Yeah. Anyway, that was funny.
Oh yeah, I don't know why anyone watches NFL or NBA. I mean, hockey is where it's at.
That's your opinion to our viewers, but I think if basketball and football did the same, or basketball did the same thing hockey did, and it does line changes, that'd be really impressive. It'd be a different sport, if you have. Well, that too.
I wouldn't mind letting, like in hockey, they do let the fights go a little while. I wouldn't mind seeing that in the NFL. That would be kind of cool. But
yeah, I wish the XFL would come back.
It did, and then COVID happened, and it didn't come back. Because The Rock bought it.
Who is our team? The Birmingham something Irons or something.
Birmingham Irons, yeah.
Yeah.
We were all in for them.
I bought a shirt off of eBay. It was totally bootlegged. It was great.
So, Nate, were you going to say something about Bruce Arians slapping his player in the head? I thought I heard you.
Yeah. I was just going to say, well, when he slapped him, did he say he should have had a V8?
Did you see him run out on the field, man? Because he was trying. The dude was on his way to a penalty, and Bruce Arians hobbled out there, bad ankle and all, smacked him right in the head.
I didn't see it, but I saw the picture of him hitting him in the helmet, and it was on Bleacher Report. That's where I got that from. So I just thought it was funny. He got fined $50K for doing that. But yeah.
Oh, so, did he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he got fined $50K. Bruce did.
Oh wow.
Yeah. What else you got, Kumar? Anything?
All right. So the Cowboys QB Dak Prescott, he apologized to the refs for commenting to the fans to throw trash at the refs during the game or after the game. Yeah,
Well,
that happened.
Did they deserve it?
They might have, but you don't do that.
That dude's an idiot.
Yeah, he is.
My dad's
Which
neighbor
part, for
one
handing
time
the center of the
assaulted
ball
a
or for the
ref.
tweet?
What's that?
For what? Why is he an idiot? For handing the center of the ball instead of the ref to reset
Yeah,
it?
that entire last 10 seconds
That game was just
hilarious.
and the play calling was horrible too.
Oh yeah, just terrible.
Everything. Yeah.
Kumar, what did you say about someone
Your
assaulting a
neighbor
ref?
assaulted.
Oh yeah. My dad's neighbor one time assaulted a ref.
Like at a
little
pro
league
game?
game.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
See,
Like,
that's
a
unacceptable.
So he was like
approached him.
10 years older than the ref.
Yeah.
Or the ump.
Probably. Yeah. It was like after the game in the parking lot. He had a few words and then assaulted him. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic.
Is he from Florida?
No, surprisingly, he could be. He's got a crazy tan.
I just want to know who won. Who won the fight?
I umpired my my son's game one time. They didn't have an umpire, and I always kind of helped out or assistant coach kind of when he played baseball. But I umped. They were missing an ump one time, and he was in little league, and it was the younger league. He was young, and so I just stood and he was actually pitching, so I just stood behind him and was calling. I was horrible. I was terrible.
Come on, Blue.
I could, because he was my son pitching, I wouldn't call a strike to save his life. He was getting pissed at me, because I didn't want anyone to think I was favoring him.
Yeah.
So man, there was stuff close, and I was calling ball, and then there'd be something way out, and I felt bad for calling the last one, so I would call a strike on this one. It's way out here. I was terrible. Terrible. I never did it again. I never wanted to do it. Never did it
so
again.
that's why his son got out of baseball.
That's right. Yeah.
He thought he couldn't throw strikes.
Right. Yeah, he was pretty good.
So Kumar, is that it? You got it, or you got something else?
There's one more.
Oh, okay.
Jaguars linebacker Laurenti McCray is facing charges for fleeing police after a high-speed chase Sunday morning in Central Florida. Everything bad happening.
So this is what happens when your football team sucks and you play for it.
Or right at the end of the season, and you know what? I read on Bleacher Report today. I forget who it was, but maybe Joe Hayden. It might have been Joe Hayden from the Steelers. He said he sent a post on one of his social media to all his NFL buddies and anyone in the NFL. We're only a week into the off season. Get a ride, Uber, get a driver. Don't mess up because it could stick with you for the rest of your life.
Right.
He sent that out today, and that's true, man. These guys. I mean, a week after the season ended for most of the teams that didn't make the playoffs.
Still hot after that.
And it's already started. Thanks, Kumar, for filling in for Joel on the sports.
Yeah, no problem.
Before we get to news, you got a couple of Florida mans you want to go over, Mike? We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah, it's back.
Yeah. Florida man.
Let's see. Let's pick one here. Oh, I like this one. A Florida man breaks into a woman's house to pet the family cat. The owner of the house was woken up by her cat jumping off her bed. When she opened her eyes, she saw a shadow of a man standing perfectly still at the end of her bed. She said hello, but the man only lowered himself to the ground where she found him petting her cat. He then left her house
scary.
without incident. Yeah. He was later arrested after the police pulled a fingerprint off the door.
So they caught him.
Yeah.
Wow.
Just
Yeah,
broke
the
in for
bandit
him
was pet her.
to pet the cat. Oh, let's see. A Florida man was arrested after he decided to improvise during an alleged robbery at a Waffle House. Witnesses told deputy that Rodriguez entered the Waffle House with a small dog, pointed his hands into finger guns, and yelled, "Get on the ground, y'all are getting robbed." Florida man then said he was high and drunk before grabbing some napkins and leaving the store. Deputies found the would-be robber at his home, where he admitted to robbing the restaurant of its napkins. He now faces charges of unarmed robbery and assault.
Unarmed robbery.
Wow.
And he only stole napkins.
Wow.
Oh, that sucks.
I mean, that's a place you
That
don't rob.
sucks.
That's like holy.
Yeah, you can get into an all-out holy war in there.
Well, think about it. You joke around,
Not
give me
having
all
it
your
happen.
napkins. Next thing you know, the police are knocking at your door.
Oh, that reminds me of a guy who was at a home depot. Yeah, thank you. And he was going to the bathroom and he was saying, "Oh, I'm gonna blow this, or I'm gonna drop a bomb in there." And they ended up calling the police on the guy.
Oh wow.
My brother and I have this funny game if he's watching, where we go to the airport and we call on the phone. We're like, "Oh, hi, Jack." You know, or it's like, "Oh man, that's the bomb." But I didn't, apparently.
Oh wow. That's funny.
Yeah, you are not on the TSA pre-flight anymore.
You know
You're
what's funny is
kicked
my
off.
bags get checked every time. It's funny. Even when we went to Florida, when we went to Destin, the same thing. The TSA, the TSA, they always open my bag and go through it.
My mom and dad watched the show, and speaking of that, Christian, a few years before COVID, they go to Florida in the winter and they come back home here in the spring. But when they were down in the winter in Florida, they took a cruise. They like cruises, so they were flying from Tampa, I guess, because they stay over in Naples, to Miami. So they were getting on a flight, and my dad they had a big RV back then. Now they did something else. But so my dad always carried a gun in the RV for protection, and he had bullets in his bag. But he didn't bring the gun, but he had bullets in his carry-on bag when he went to the airport. And my mom sent me pictures of them frisking him, and I forget the whole scenario, but he was so upset and mad because they went through everything he had, held him up. I don't even know if they missed their plane and maybe got on another one, but he was trying to explain that, hey, I carry a gun in my RV, and they're elderly,
right.
and they look innocent, but they scrutinized him up and down about having that one bullet in his bag. So then I started calling him One Bullet Barney.
That's great.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do this. Let's get on the news, and we'll take it out with questions with Kumar. Christian's going to go over those. So, Ian, what's up in the trucking news world?
All right, hold on. Let me. Oh, nope. Oh God.
That's you.
There you go.
What was that?
I pressed the wrong button
It's
there.
a really bright hat.
Alrighty. I don't know if you guys have been following any of the news coming out of Los Angeles. It's a little bit of logistics, not really trucking related. It could affect it though. There was a lot of these package robberies, and in the same area where they have been robbing these train cars, these containers, they had a train derail. Actually caused a lot of problems for Union Pacific over there. Here's some of the footage of some of these robberies as well. They haven't released the exact cause, but I'm guessing something was laying on the tracks because look at all that crap.
That's the
I was
trash.
gonna say, do they have any idea how that happened, or?
No, they haven't exactly released it yet. I don't know, but it is actually. I don't know if you guys know. It is very hard to derail a train. You have to have like almost like 10 feet of track missing, or a very large object on the tracks to get it off. All right, what else we got? Oh yes,
Looks like where all the COVID tests are.
Yeah,
on the tracks.
They have been robbed. To help ease the driver shortage, quote unquote driver shortage, they are going to start allowing people who are 18, 19, and 20 to start driving interstate with large trucks now. I don't know how that's going to turn out. Could be good, could be bad, but
if I'm not mistaken, I think there are I think there are some that are already doing it.
Really?
Yeah, I saw something a couple weeks ago about it. A guy was 20 and was talking about as soon as he turned 21, he'd be able to leave the state. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, now
I don't know which state.
Yeah, now he could have done it when he was 18. So I don't know how many 18-year-olds there are out there with Class A CDLs, but yeah. All right. Did anybody see the world's largest frying pan last week?
Wasn't that on Ray's Grill 3 weeks ago? Giant cactus.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, somebody had snapped this picture. It was going down 59 over in Tennessee. Oh man, I cannot talk today. I don't know what's going on.
It's all that Baja Blast you drank.
Oh, it could be.
Roadkill.
So it's probably where they're gonna take that to put it out front with the giant rocking chairs at Cracker Barrel.
It's going to the world's largest iron skillet. No, I don't know.
It's coming to my house. It's for my
It was going to a museum.
Can you imagine? Okay. Can you imagine being the sales guy that got the call? I'm gonna need a 30-foot iron skillet. It's 6 foot deep and an 8-foot handle.
It says here it's going to the large cast iron museum.
And Kevin, I apologize for using my West Virginia accent. That's very assumptive of me.
I wonder if it comes with a pot. I wonder if it comes with a lid for that pot.
Yeah, it has pilot cars and everything. Look.
Yeah,
it's got pilot cars and all.
Wow.
For the skillet.
Yeah.
That'd be funny when you call on a. They post the load and you call on it.
Yeah, it's a big cast iron frying pan. All right, and then this was another thing I saw, and while I was researching this, I found some other states are doing it too. This is through Missouri Job Center. They are doing a 90-day trucking apprenticeship, so you can go and get your Class A through the state of Missouri if you live there. And then I think Georgia's doing this as well, and there was a couple other. Hopefully we can get some more drivers out there. And then last but not least, I'll see if I can get this pulled up. Check this out.
Oh yeah.
At
least our driver that I showed the trailer with didn't do this.
I saw this too.
Yeah.
This is
a tree. That is a big log sticking out of the trailer.
He just took the tree. He had to get it delivered. He had to hurry.
Bonsai.
That's insane.
Oh yeah, I had a good laugh about that one.
That's great.
You trimmed that down for a bonsai tree.
There we go. There's the news.
All righty. Thank you, Ian.
Thanks, Porky Pig.
I did.
That's all, folks.
Christian, while you get ready for trucking questions with Kumar, hey Jim, what were you telling? Yeah. You were a story you were telling Ian earlier. What were you guys talking about? I heard a little bit.
Oh, we was talking about chaining up, going over the mountain.
Oh yeah. Can you tell us about that?
Well, I was my late wife and I was leaving out of Reno. We had a good time gambling, of course, and we was headed over to south of Sacramento for a delivery. And we got up to Truckee and was going across the scale, and I said to her, "What'd that sign say?" She said, "I don't know, something about chains." And sure enough, we got up to Donner by the lake, and they was chain law was in effect. So of course, you put your chains on, and it's cold and snowy, and I was in a hurry, and we went through the check stage and everything, and went on. Turned the bend and started up the hill, and it was snowing bad. And all of a sudden, there was a truck right in front of me, going about 5 to 10 mile an hour. And anybody knows you should go 25 to 30 mile an hour to keep your chains clean so that they'll be effective and work properly.
Right.
Well, I come to a complete stop, and I started to go, and I threw off a chain. I said, "Well, we don't need them chains. Let's just get right on going. We've been through the checkpoint." No. We didn't go. I ended up literally putting my trailer up against the guardrail to stop me from sliding down the mountain.
Wow.
I got out, walked up, put my chain back on, and Caltrans come along. They said, "You throw a chain?" I said, "Well, yeah, and is he going to get it done, back on and everything?" I said, "Yeah, all I got to do is tighten it." He's, "Okay, well, that's good. I got a hook on the way." And I'm thinking, oh my God, money, And he says, "I'll get behind you and I'll give you a push to get you going." And I looked at his truck. It was like a ton pickup, 4-wheel drive. And I thought, yeah, right. Okay. I got rolls of paper on here. I'm weighing 80,000 pounds. and he's going to push me. Well, he did get me going, and we got going. He says, come on, you got to get going faster. I said, I can't. There's another truck in front of me. Next thing I know, here comes that hook that was coming after me, passed me on the shoulder, and come in between us and start pushing that other guy on. So we got going finally. Made it over there. It took me 8 hours to get over the hill. And then we got over there and delivered the load. So we get another load on. We're coming back, and once you know it, Donner's closed. So we get a motel. We spent the first night there. Come up to the last minute of having to buy it again for the next night. So I did. About an hour later, they opened up the mountain. I said, let's go. You just paid for the room, she said. I said, I don't care. Let's go. And we packed up. We went up over the hill. Didn't have to put no chains on or nothing. It was a good thing we went, because when we got over to Reno, it was closed already for 3 days.
Wow.
So the story about all this is to make sure you put your chains on properly and you get them tightened down properly so you don't lose one. And not only that, please go 25 to 30 mile an hour so somebody doesn't have to stop and lose one like I did. Practice putting on your chains.
My chains are for display purposes only.
Well, like I say, I only put them on to get out of trouble, not to get into it. I sure wasn't going to turn around from Truckee and go clear back to Reno.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so these new drivers out here, they're listening. Practice putting your chains on. Don't get in a hurry. I know it's cold. That's the worst part of putting them on. They're very easy to do. That's about all I got to say about that now.
There you go.
I like the Forrest Gump reference.
Cool.
I'm YouTube certified on putting on chains.
Oh yeah, the last place you want to be putting chains on for the very first time is on the side of a road in a snowstorm. Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Sorry.
You
got coughing for Joel.
That's my job. That's my job.
So let's go, Christian. Trucking questions.
And hey, the person who is going to be paying this week.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I was last in the pickup, so it'll be me.
Yeah, who's first though?
Yeah, who won? That's
Berkey.
the most important part.
Yeah. He shouldn't have won.
I only got one wrong.
All right,
Yeah.
Burke's not in the next
He got all
football
6 right.
pick 'em.
Yeah, no, we got to kick him out.
He's losing. He needs to
All
leave.
right. So Christian, I'm gonna grab some water.
All right, cool.
I'll be right back.
Sounds
Please
good.
pause for technical difficulty.
All right. So should I wait for Russ to get back?
Nah.
All right. All right.
Wait.
What's up, guys? Kumar, are you ready?
I'm ready, Joel.
All right. All right. So, that was quick. Russ is back.
that's right
You
there.
missed my Joel impression. You have to watch it live or on a rerun, anyways.
I will do.
Question number 1. Blocking is it A, dangerous and should never be done? B, is only done with liquid loads, tanker endorsed. C, could affect the weight of the axles. D, is essential to prevent cargo from moving in transit. Or E, is it a dance move from the 1984 breakdancing movie Break It?
Nice.
And that's blocking, you said?
So
Blocking. Yeah, it's blocking.
So Kumar, you lost. So how did you guys figure out who's gonna do?
I just figured it was you and Kumar's money this week since he lost.
So yeah, Kumar, if you don't win, you have to pay.
Okay.
That's
Double down
how-
the
if
pressure.
you do
I like
win,
you on.
If
he's
you
on
beat the
screen.
drivers, then I'll pay. $20. Oh, and we didn't tell everybody. So we decided the St. Christopher Fund, which is for truck drivers in need, their families in need. We're gonna go from now till May 1st. We're gonna do that. So the money goes to that.
All right, cool.
Deal. So, okay, blocking.
Would you like me to read the answers again?
Yeah.
Blocking a load is dangerous and should never be done. Only done when liquid loads, tanker endorsed. Blocking is a load that could affect the weight of the axles. It's essential to prevent cargo from moving in transit, or it's a dance move from the 1984 breakdance movie Breakin'.
All right, I'm going to say it's essential to what was that? D?
Yeah, D, right?
Yeah.
Essential.
What do you guys say? Jim, Ray?
The dance move?
Yeah, it's definitely the dance move.
Final answer. You got to stick with that.
Preventing cargo from moving.
Yeah. Kumar got that, so it's 1-0 Kumar.
All right.
And the dance move.
Okay, guys.
Whoever loses, if Kumar loses, he has to do the 1980s dance move.
At 100%. And I just want to watch him sweat it out. I always hear him thinking it over. Now we can actually watch him sweat.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, so you're right. Stabilizes cargo. Question number 2. Which of the following is acceptable during a pre-trip inspection? Is it A, steer tires inflated to 85 psi, B, mismatched tire size on the same axle, C, tire manufacturers by different tire makers, D, tread of 3/32 of an inch in the grooves of the front tires, steer axles, I think what he means there, and then E, trailer tires inflated to 75 psi. Which of the following is acceptable during a pre-trip?
Okay, what was the first answer?
First answer is steer tires. A is steer tires inflated to 85 psi. B is mismatched tire size on the same axle. C is tires manufactured by different makers. D is tread of 3/32 of an inch in the grooves of the steer tire. And then E is trailer tires inflated to 75 psi.
Which one is acceptable?
Is acceptable.
Right?
Yep, which one's okay?
E.
Drivers?
Trailer tires inflated to 75. Okay, that's Kumar.
I'm gonna go with C.
Tires by different manufacturers.
That is correct,
That
guys.
is correct.
Jim and Ray and Kevin. All right.
So 1-0.
It's all tied up.
Or I'm sorry, 1-1. My guys.
Let's just all look at Kumar and make him nervous real quick. There we go.
Oh,
Okay,
great.
good. All right. When should a driver sign a vehicle inspection report? When should a driver sign a vehicle inspection report? Is it A, after every trip? Is it B, if noted defects are repaired? Is it C, after each fueling? D, when scanning a load? Or E, when there are no defects to report?
After fueling.
So he says he should
C.
sign his DVIR drivers after fueling. Do you agree?
You guys want me to read it again for you?
Yeah.
When should you sign your DVIR?
When should a driver sign off on a vehicle inspection report? Is it A, after every trip? B, if noted defects are repaired? C, after fueling? D, when scanning a load? Or E, when no defects are to report?
E.
Did you just say E?
When there's no defects to report.
I'll go with every trip.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna
That's
go with
what I'm
every
gonna
trip.
say is every trip.
You'll have to remember that these answers were provided by Joel.
Joel. Okay.
Howell, not Christian Sneed.
So what did Joel write as the right answer?
If noted defects, and he's correct, by the way. He is correct.
I agree.
If noted defects are repaired. So if there was a previous repair that needed to be done, you have to sign off that it was done in your DVIR. So the correct answer is B, and so no one gets credit for that one.
So, and drivers, let's talk about that for a second. So you have to do a DVIR every day. You just note there's nothing wrong, so you're not signing it. But when you sign your DVIR, and you got to kind of think back, Jim, you remember, think back to paper logs.
Yes, on the paper logs, did you sign that at every time at the end of your day?
Yeah.
Whether there was defects or not, you still signed it.
You
that
still
you
had
had
to
your
sign it.
inspection.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had.
I would think
we
you
had
got to
sign
sign
them.
it every day, because signing it with no defects is saying you did your pre-trip or post-trip or what. So
Yeah,
that
we
I would
had
think
we
you
had to
sign
sign
it
it.
every
Otherwise,
day.
safety would call us. Why didn't we sign it?
Well, I did look it up because I was thinking pre-ELD versus now. I know if you note a defect, you have to note that it was repaired in order to move through on an ELD system. But 396.11 does state through FMCSA, you must sign a vehicle inspection report only if defects were noted.
So that's where Joel's
let me
going.
ask you this. Isn't there two signature lines? One of them is that you did your DVIR. You're the person who signed for doing the DVIR, right? And the second sign line is going to be for the repairs being made on the defects noted.
Yes.
Either way, Kumar was way off. He said after fueling.
Whoops.
So
Yes,
Yeah, so
there was
there's
there
two
was two
signature
places.
lines.
what's
Two
that, Jim?
signature lines. There are two signature lines on a paper inspection sheet for your logbook. One is that you did do your inspection and everything was okay. And two, if you had a repair that you had to make, that you did the repair.
And you sign off on the repair. Okay.
Yeah.
And I
And
think
you
that's
sign
where,
off on the
Or the
repairs.
mechanic.
I
If
think
you
that's
fix it
where
yourself, you sign it. If a mechanic fixes it, then the mechanic signs it.
Yeah, and I agree with that too. So you guys, I kind of would go with the drivers on that, but we'll give no points so that way we're still tied. Christian, let's see what
All
happens.
right. All right. So let's think back. This goes dated to 2014. As of 2014, the state with the highest inspection intensity rank, and those are in quotes, inspection intensity rank, conducted more inspections per lane mile of interstate than any of its within its borders.
So let's
read
just,
that. I'll read that again.
Yeah, and basically what I think you're saying is that inspection intensity report is how many inspections by state.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How many by state per mile of interstate? So in 2014, which state had the highest inspection intensity rate, conducting more inspections per lane mile of interstate with its borders? What is it? A, Connecticut. Was it B, Maryland? Was it C, Washington? Was it D, California? Or E, New York City?
He's like, oh.
Did you say New York City?
I did.
Kumar, did you
Never heard of that state.
That's the
You're New York.
Ian, Jesus, that's the trick.
Oh.
Oh wait, there's a trick to it.
That was the trick. I thought you just figured it out.
I don't think he was paying attention.
So was it A, Connecticut?
Was it B, Maryland? C,
C.
Washington? D, California? Or E, New York City?
New York City.
Well, I helped you with one of those. Let's see.
Do not say E. or I'm going to
That's
come in
your
the office.
that was your phone a friend.
I feel like
The
California. I'm gonna go because that's my first one. But
Yeah.
Is that on there?
Yeah,
That's the
it's-
obvious answer.
So basically, the state with the most inspections.
I mean, that's what I would
by
pick.
the-
Per
I
mile.
would think that's the
per mile.
obvious answer, but for some reason I don't. Because it's so obvious, I don't think it is.
can I? Try
Is it the obvious
Maryland?
answer?
I might go. Can I go to Maryland?
Are you sure you want a second guess?
Drivers?
What do you say, Kumar? Is it California? Is it Maryland? What is your choice?
Before
We're
you
gonna go
even come
Maryland.
up with it,
He's going Maryland.
You
before
change
you
it?
even come up
He
with
changed
the
it to Maryland.
options,
Okay. What do
I
you say?
come up with Connecticut before any state was mentioned.
Yeah. Okay. And what do you say, Ray? Jim Mackey? I'm
Oh,
sorry, Ray,
man.
Kevin, and Nate? Connecticut, Maryland, California. What was the other one?
Connecticut, Maryland, Washington, California, New York City.
I really don't have that.
The state
I
with
was gonna say
the most
California.
intensity of inspections per mile of interstate.
Of interstate, right?
And I'm like, my
Within their border.
California is
Within
too
their border.
obvious.
Yes, within its borders.
Okay, I'll go. Shoot, man, you got me there now. I don't know.
Maryland's, I'll go with Maryland.
Yeah, I'm going Maryland.
California.
Is it?
I'm going with California.
That's what I would go with.
If we all split it
I'll
up,
go
then
with
I'll take
Maryland.
Washington. I'll take
I'm
Washington.
thinking the smallest state is what stood out to me because they have the least amount of miles.
question.
No wonder you host this show. You're so smart. As of 2014,
Okay, you didn't say that.
which
when I said
state has the highest inspection intensity rank, conducting more inspections per lane mile of interstate within its borders?
Per lane mile. I missed that. Yep.
Yeah, I did read the question, but I that's immediately stood out to me why it was because that's the least amount of miles, I would say.
Right.
So yeah,
Yes. So,
So,
the answer is B. It is Maryland.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Kumar's 2-1, even though
Well, at least we got it.
Let's go.
even though
Right.
Nate got it too, but Kumar, if there's a tie, Kumar gets the point. So come on, drivers, I need you on this one. I don't want to have to pay. I want Kumar to pay.
So the answer was Maryland, and all them inspections happened at the Banning scale.
Probably.
We actually avoided Maryland because we had so many inspections, and that was probably about that time.
Well, they don't even have to have that many inspections if they're so small per lane mile. Based,
Right.
the question.
Right.
That's,
Be like Rhode Island.
Brian not having a good safer score. They're pulling you in every single time. Yeah.
Really?
You can't get. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. You can
I
actually
stayed
pull
out
it
of
up.
that area.
Yeah. Well, So do we now. It was an expensive journey. It's fine. All right. So then let's see here. Due to clean diesel technology, how many modern day trucks can run on the emissions of a 1988 tractor? Is it A, 5, B, 10, C, 20, D, 30, or E, 60?
Could you say that question again?
Due to clean diesel technology, how many modern day trucks can run on the emissions of a single 1988 tractor?
Oh. 10 sounds right. That's the first thing that popped in my head. I'll go with 10.
Okay.
Drivers?
What was the highest number?
60.
I'll go with that number.
What do you think, Jim?
What was the second highest?
30.
That's the one I'll take.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kevin, Nate, you got a different opinion or a reason that you think it might be different?
I don't.
No, 20.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to tell you is that Ray is correct at 60. 60 tractors can run on the same emissions. Isn't
Tied
that
up.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Wow.
That is
That is.
insane.
Lucky guess right there.
Wow.
We've come a long way.
We have. All right. Let's see here. Which question we're going to ask here?
So we're tied 2-2.
Then again,
We are-
I
it's all
wonder.
tied up.
So I wonder how many more trucks are on the road from 1988 till now. I wonder if it's six. Is it 60 to 1? You think? Probably not that high.
Ooh, I don't know. I bet. I mean,
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
just-
You know what I'm. You know
Yeah.
what I'm getting. You know what I'm getting at with that
Yeah.
question?
Yeah.
Like how
Yeah.
many?
yeah. Are we still producing the same amount of pollution?
Yeah.
A lot more efficiently.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey,
there's more
even
trucks,
even deleted trucks are not producing as much emissions. You don't see them smoking down the road anymore like you used to back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't see the black smoke.
I missed that smoke roll though. To be honest.
Yeah.
All right,
Soft
so
now.
on average, how many nights does a truck driver spend away from his home each year? Is it A, Ray Nieto at 12? Is it is it B, 180? C, 290? D, 240? Or E, 320?
You
So
said
this-
your average?
Average truck driver.
Average, yeah. On average, how many nights do truck drivers spend away from their home each year?
Kumar.
I was just counting like every truck driver or just
Probably over the road.
Over the road is the question, I bet.
So read the answers again. So
Yep.
it was
It was A, Ray Nieto at 12.
12.
It was B, 180. It was C, 290. D, 240. Or E, 320.
So how many nights do they spend away from
Yeah,
home,
they go-
Kumar?
I'd have to say 290. Yeah,
Wasn't it-
we'll go with 290.
Was it two? I thought you said 240.
no, it was
240
That was
is D.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, so Kumar's locked in 290.
What do you guys say? Jim, Ray, Kevin, Nate? You got to get this one, man, or I'm paying.
Yeah, and if you don't hit
180.
the number, you're below average.
Well,
Ray says
you think,
180.
I'd say
180.
hey guys, can just some simple math here.
You can help them. Go ahead.
Okay, so
Dude, what was the? It was like what 240 or 220 something like
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna go with
240.
240.
Okay,
I'm gonna go
240,
with
290, and 320.
that. 240 is what
I'll
I'll
take-
say.
okay.
I'll
Yeah.
take 180 just to cover it.
Nice.
320.
Said you
Now
that.
he's thinking.
Yeah,
That's
no, I saw
great.
your guys' strategy on the last question.
That's nice. Yeah, they should have
think
done
I
it the
was
one
out
beforehand,
around-
and this would have been a competition.
Yeah.
It only took 40 episodes to figure that one out.
I think the last full year I was out, I was closer to probably 320. I'd say the average.
Well, you didn't
driver-
go home in Thanksgiving. We all knew that.
Right.
So you got stuck in Wisconsin.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say 320, but I'm not in.
Yeah.
that.
So if you look at the occupancy, right? And by the way, first of all, we'll say the correct answer is 240.
Is it?
All right.
Yeah, it is 240. So the drivers do win.
Kumar, write it down.
That's
So
$200 from you.
$20 for Kumar to St. Christopher's, which will donate May 1st. And you wrote down last week, right? Christian's paying 20. I want to make sure we keep bringing that up.
Got it on my board.
So yeah, so it's St. Christopher's. That's great.
We call it St. Christians if I'm the only one funding this thing.
There's a lot of saints. No, and we didn't go over what St. Christopher's is. I know most drivers know what it is. Mackie, one of you guys want to let our listeners know what St. Christopher's is all about?
St. Christopher's Fund is an organization that helps truck drivers that are in medical help as far as financial goes and like that.
Yeah. If you guys listen to Road Dog Trucking on Sirius Satellite Radio, the Dave Nemo show, he's been on there forever. I think he was one of the founders or helped found that St. Christopher's thing years ago. So I read that today because I wanted to check it out myself. So yeah, so we're gonna do that. St. Christopher's Fund. How about you guys? You got anything else, Mike? Christian?
No.
I do have a little news that I thought was interesting. So we have
hey buddy, I do the news.
Well, I'm not sure how you passed over the White House Lane Foundation for the next generation truck workforce. You covered that, but I'm going to mispronounce his name and not on purpose. But Peter Buttigieg. There you go.
Oh, I almost did that one. I forgot. Whoopsie.
Okay, we'll do it then. It's your news.
No, it's all you. It's all you. It's all you,
buddy. Go ahead.
But he's focusing on driver pay. So he said if there's any positive outcome of the supply chain crisis, he said that he wants truckers to know that they have a renewed appreciation for them and that they should be compensated accordingly. So hopefully, and they're working on detention items and a whole bunch of other legislation. But he talked about 300,000 people leaving the field, and hey, we need to make sure we bring the pay up and then support it for long after the supply chain crisis solves itself.
Not only is that news, but that is great news. That's really good news to hear.
And that goes along with something I reported on, like, I don't know, early fall, where they are doing a whole program of looking into what is causing drivers to be at shippers and receivers so long, and why are they not getting paid for it. And that's just a continuation. Hopefully they get that figured out.
Yeah, there was a press release back December 16th at whitehouse.gov that talks exactly about that. It's the administration's trucking action plan to strengthen Americans' trucking workforce. So they have a workforce just for the trucking side of things, which is really great. That should have been done a long, long time ago, like during deregulation maybe. Yep.
And unfortunately, it just takes a long time, like anything with the government, with the federal government, that they'll eventually figure something out, but it'll take forever.
Yeah. We'll be in another pandemic by then.
So, producer Zach Kern, you got anything else before we go?
More doxing.
Zachary
Go Bills.
Kern.
Go Bills. Bills Mafia.
Or Bengals.
Not the Bengals.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't even want to hear about that.
I like Joe Burrow. He's
I'm
cool.
not a Bengals fan, so
he is
Browns
cool.
fan.
I like the
But if
quarterback.
Joe Burrow were on the Browns, you'd be ecstatic.
Oh, you'd have his poster
Oh,
up in your bathroom.
exactly.
And,
You'd actually still be in the playoffs.
We'd have a big head in the office.
Yeah.
Or a fat head.
Ray, Jim Mackey, Kevin, Nate, you guys got anything else?
No, just be safe out there.
Be safe out there. Keep the shiny side up.
Slow down.
Watch those ditches. And Kumar.
Yeah, just go Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, everywhere. Talkin Truckin without the G's. Give us a follow and like, comment, and share our videos and whatnot.
Episode 40 in the books.
Don't forget to plug our other show.
Talkin Dirty After Dark.
And that's out to Grizz out at Metal Arc, if you guys just heard it. She thought, because of the way Joel said it, it was Talkin Dirty with Deaton and Doty.
Yeah, we need another coffee, Kevin.
Recording that next.
All right, you guys have
a
great safe week, and we will talk to you next week. Go
right,
Browns,
see you guys.
go Indians, go Guardians.
Go Guardians. Go
Keep
Guardians.
saying Indians.
Flag.